Charlie Kirk being killed, HBCUs were targeted with bomb threats. Now, a MAGA hate group decides to go to Tennessee State University. They call themselves the Freedom Tour. And what they do, they go Fearless Tour. They go to these college campuses. Now, here's the deal. They showed up at Tennessee State uninvited, did not seek permission, and set up their table. And the whole point, this is what the whole point was. You see right here, DEI should be legal, deport all illegals now. Then they got upset because students grabbed their signs and tossed them. And then, of course, they were escorted off campus by security. Now, the videos have been going around social media. Let's just roll it, turn the audio up.
Set up a table.
Boy. So we got to talk about some woke black fragility on full display at Tennessee State University, which happens to be an HBCU, right? So we're talking about a historically black university, a historically black college, which means that the school is most likely mostly black, okay? And these black students got pissed off and upset because some conservative Trump-supported students who happen to be white, okay, for the most part, they simply came to campus to have a conversation, to debate, okay? In the spirit of Charlie Kirk, going to these college campuses and debating, spreading ideas that these woke college students typically won't hear in classrooms, right? And let's just say things got out of control to the point where the group had to be removed from campus because these woke black students could not control their emotions because they were so upset about hearing political opinions that they disagreed with. Take a look.
So what part of our systems is for people of color?
All of it. The entire system is for everybody. Anybody who's an American citizen.
So you feel like there's nothing. So you feel like everybody is equal.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's equal in their rights, but not everybody's obviously equal in their, what they have. Like, I grew up in a double wide trailer. He grew up in Boca Raton, so, we didn't grow up equal. We're both white. I mean, he's a Jew, so that's probably why he grew up in Boca Raton. But so we're not equal in what we possess as we start always, but we are equal in what we're allowed to do, our opportunity.
Can I ask you, do you think that there's any law that allows me to do something that you can't do, for example?
I don't think there's any laws that say that you can do something that I can't. But then again, this system can't be ignored. Like, we can't just say it does not exist because there are countless examples of it existing.
Maybe just one example of what you're talking about. So what's wrong with the system that allows, I guess, racism to be systemic or institutionalized?
I mean, I would argue the opposite. Like, again, we have civil rights acts on top of civil rights acts in addition to the 14th Amendment's equal protection clause. 14th Amendment being written for the sole purpose of expanding and equalizing the rights of white people and black people. And furthermore, the 14th Amendment equal protection clause echoes exactly what the Civil Rights Act says, right? You cannot be discriminated based on your inalienable characteristics like your race, your sex, your sexuality, etc.
But even though we have these laws, that doesn't stop it from happening. We still know that...
You're right, racism does happen, still, even though there are laws that ban it. And I think that those laws are oftentimes used to enforce a culture of anti-racism in the United States. We actually cancel people for being racist all the time. But we have, in the system, as far as the system goes, you can't stop people from being racist on an individual level, unfortunately. It happens in every country, on every continent. all around the world, and it has since the beginning of time. But what you can do is make it illegal to institutionalize it by saying, you can't allow you have to allow everybody to eat at your restaurant. You can't not admit people based on their color. You can't prioritize people based on their color, etc. And I would say that I would say getting rid of DEI works towards that objective.
So, y'all had say make America great again. How do y'all feel that America is not great, and how do y'all feel that America can be great again? And when was it great?
Yeah, I would say that the most recent example of America being great was the first term of Donald Trump. And then we had 4 years of Joe Biden and chaos, and then Trump is president again. So this was his campaign hat for his, lead up to his second term.
A few moments later.
Come on. Yo.
Oh, you better not, boy! You better not!
Okay. Yo, bring the sign back.
Showing them the door.
We walking them to the door, y'all. I don't even know how they got on campus. We gonna figure that out, but I don't know. They need to get like a trespass, penalty or something, because
Sending them off.
Tell him it's that boy. He thought he was gonna come up like Charlie.
yes, say good job, TSU.
Good job. Shout out to my school.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about this school because I don't really think it's much to be proud of, to be honest with you. But again, what you saw there was woke black fragility on full display. Okay, these students got upset because you had a group of conservatives led by Cameron Higby, who is associated with Turning Point USA. They simply came on campus to have a debate, right? To have a conversation. And what initially started off as respectful debate and conversation. Again, they weren't making noise and causing a bunch of commotion or being agents of chaos. They were having civil debate, right? But civility seems to not really be an attribute of these woke black students, because they got really upset at civil debate and decided becoming agents of chaos to the point where police decided, you know what, this is too dangerous. We got to shut it down. We have to remove this group from campus because these students can't handle conversation, right? They can't handle conversation. And I just think the funny part about it is that these students are boohoo-whining crime victimhood, and you got, people like, for example, Roland Martin claiming that this is a hate group and that they were antagonizing students and all of this crazy stuff. It's like, that's not what was happening at all, right? Going on campus or going on a college campus to debate issues like illegal immigration and DEI, that's not hate and bigotry. But again, you listen to these woke revolutionaries, they make it sound like that the students went on campus with Nazi flags and white hoods and tiki torches, like that was the Klan. Take a look.
Going to an HBCU while being a whole white supremacist wearing a MAGA hat is peak white privilege. Peak white privilege. And I'll tell you why. He knows nothing's going to happen to him at that HBCU, because if it does, it's only going to make the black folks look like animals, look like thugs, and that's the narrative he knows he's going to be able to spin on them. So them young black kings and queens at the school, they already know, man, if we put hands on dude, we going to look like the bad guy. No matter what we do, we going to look like the bad guy. That is peak white privilege. Because if Black Lives Matter sat up a table, 3 of them sat up a table to go into a freaking college that is majority white MAGA folks, and they went over there to debate, you guys would sit here and say them black folks went over there to start some trouble. They don't belong here. Call the police. call the cops. Get them out of here. This is what we mean by white privilege, bro.
Hey guys, it's Leash. Listen, I know I'm looking a little rough. Just got finished working out. It is what it is. But y'all, the MAGA folks that went to Tennessee State University, which is an HBCU in Tennessee, the folks that went there to basically harass and wreak havoc on that campus are none short of just vile. These are children. These are students that are seeking higher education to better themselves, potentially their family, their communities. What are you doing?
Now, this is the kind of energy that I like to see, because you're showing up to an HBCU campus unprovoked for absolutely no reason but to antagonize Black people. And here's the thing. The antagonistic behavior towards Black people has continued to increase since Charlie Kirk's death. Whole time, Black people had nothing to do with it. We just minding our business, our Black ass business. But to try to trespass on somebody's campus to promote what you know is directly in opposition of said campus is egregious. And I personally feel like they should have been arrested. But since we all know how that go, I'm proud of my HBCU brothers and sisters for doing this.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now let's get into the local news coverage of this situation so we can learn a little bit more about what went down here.
A clash on campus sparking a debate about the First Amendment. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Carrie Sharp. Members of Fearless Debate say they were just trying to create conversation and discourse on Tennessee State University's grounds.
But the NAACP's Nashville chapter says the group came to campus with rhetoric aimed at provoking and demeaning students. News Channel 5's Aaron Cantrell tells us how the fallout is having a big impact.
Because this incident has gone viral, it's sparking strong responses from not only students, also alumni, advocacy groups, and beyond. The group behind the Fearless Tour, a grassroots organization inspired by the late Charlie Kirk, says it's bringing honest conversation and open debate back to America's college campuses.
I just want to say this real quick. I think Fearless is the perfect title for this, especially considering what happened to Charlie Kirk on a college campus. Yeah, this is fearless, right? This is actual real bravery. And these individuals who decided to debate these college students to try to promote free speech on college campuses, which apparently doesn't exist anymore, okay, without political violence happening. Yeah, they deserve to be supported, okay, because ultimately we need more free speech, more debate, okay, more open discussion, not less. And what these leftists want more than anything is less open debate and discussion. So shout out to these guys for doing this, because this really is bravery here.
I would say getting rid of DEI works towards that objective.
On Tuesday, the conservative commentators entered Tennessee State University, a historically Black college without permission, according to officials, bringing a table, microphone, and inflammatory signs, sparking outrage from students. Campus police and staff responded, removing them from the property.
You know, in a university, I think particularly in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk, there are some genuine security issues, not just for people on campus, but for people who might be coming in.
TSU says students conducted themselves professionally and respectfully.
They conducted themselves professionally and respectfully, right? I'm not sure that's the way I would describe the video footage, which tells you everything you need to know about the people running this university. When they claim that the students conduct themselves respectfully, if that was the case, this would be a news story, right? If the students actually stood there and debated and had open discussion without acting like agents of chaos, right? And without turning this into the jungle, this would be a news story, right? It's because they did not act with respect. It's because they were agents of chaos. This is why it's a news story.
Media posts from the group show students shouting, filming, and following them as they were escorted away. John Vial, a contributor to MTSU's First Amendment Encyclopedia, says TSU had the right to remove the group under its policy requiring advance approval for demonstrations.
You know, what TSU has done, as far as I can tell, is perfectly legitimate. There are different rules for different places.
But the NAACP Nashville chapter goes further.
Yeah, this is why I'm calling BS on TSU's explanation, claiming that, well, they didn't have permission to be there, because this is a publicly funded university, and part of the campus should be open to the public. Now, there are some parts that are not open to the public, obviously, like the dorms, like classrooms, faculty, facilities, stuff like that, like obvious. But when you talk about a lawn in the middle of campus, I think that's probably more of a gray area. And again, I just wouldn't be surprised if the school was not being 100% honest about whether they actually needed permission to be there. I mean, they were just there with a table and some signs, and some mics, right? It wasn't an actual like real event, right, or demonstration or whatever the school is trying to describe it as. It was just them just kind of setting up a little table to have conversation.
Saying this was not just political expression, but an intentional effort to antagonize, disrupt, and instill fear in a space meant to be safe and supportive for Black students. They added, "We are both infuriated and alarmed that groups like Fearless Debates are targeting HBCUs in 2025 with rhetoric that echoes a long history of exclusion, racism, and systemic oppression."
Oh God, it's so terrible, right? Coming to a school with DEI should be illegal and illegal should be deported. Having that sign, that's so hateful. That's so racist. Oh, it's so hurt. Oh God, we gotta protect the fragile Black students from the hateful signage, right? That's what we got going on here, man. This is so embarrassing. This is so embarrassing for this university, right? It really is. Imagine thinking these students, who again are adults, right? These students are so fragile, okay, that they can't handle some signage that has a different political opinion than they have, right? Like, again, this is pathetic. It really is.
TSU representatives say they are reviewing all video footage to determine how the individuals gained access to the campus.
It's a public campus, right? That's how they gained access to it, because it's public.
In Nashville, Aaron Cantrell, News Channel 5.
Thanks, Aaron. Meantime, Congressman Andy Ogles is chiming in on what unfolded on TSU's campus, posting on X, quote, "Why is TSU not condemning this attack on Cam Higby?" That is one of the members of Fearless Debates. Ogles added, quote, "If rigorous debate can't happen on college campuses, why are we funding them?" Meanwhile, TSU's Counseling Center says their doors are open. Staff's ready to talk if anyone might need support.
Wow. Again, this is so embarrassing. Well, the counselors, they're ready to talk if any one of these woke Black fragile students, right, they had their feelings hurt, ready to talk. Wow. Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. I think their representative, Andy Ogles, is asking a pretty good question, right? Why are we funding these woke colleges and universities that don't allow free speech, right? Because that's essentially what happened there, right? That college, that university was not allowing free speech. Why are we funding them? Okay, and I got a lot of questions about Tennessee State University, because I feel like outside of just that, they probably shouldn't be funded at all. Let's be real, because let's look at their graduation rate, right? The 4-year graduation rate in 2023 to 2024 for all first-time, full-time freshmen, 15%. 15%. That is the 4-year graduation rate. 15%. For males, it is 11%. For females, it's 16%. Okay? I personally believe that at this point, there are some legitimate questions about should this college be funded at all, right? Considering how this college seems to be a complete and total waste of taxpayer money, right? These students clearly are not the brightest. They have an acceptance rate of 91%, bro. Like, come on. Like, seriously, let's be real. Let's be real here. Should we be funding this? Because a vast majority of these students probably should not be going to college, right? I mean, again, you talk about a 91% acceptance rate, like literally, like if you apply, right? It doesn't matter who you are. If you apply, you're getting in, right? You're getting into this school no matter what. And if you get in, it is likely that you're not going to graduate. A complete and total waste of taxpayer dollars. I guarantee you a vast majority of these students are getting federal funds to go to school. So they're getting student loans. They're racking up student loans, okay, debt, okay, and then they're not graduating. And then they're turning around, they're boohoo whining and crying about the student loan debt that they have when they shouldn't have went to college in the first place. So again, you know, I think that schools like this, to be honest with you, probably shouldn't exist, right? I mean, let's be real, because they're not producing. They're just not, right? These students are probably not bright enough to grasp nuanced debate, right? Definitely are not the type of student that would welcome any type of intellectual stimulation or any type of rigorous academic debate. I'm just keeping it 100. I know it's going to trigger a lot of people. I know a lot of people are going to be upset and be mad, but it's just the truth, right? It's just the truth. And again, this is why these people got so angry, because when you lack intelligence, you rely on emotion, right? And instead of listening to the opposing arguments, okay, and, you know, taking it in, okay, digesting it, okay, from an intellectual perspective, no, they get emotional and they start, you know, boohoo, whining, cry, outraging, right? Because people are saying things that they disagree with. It is sad. It really is, because I guarantee you, if a rapper came on campus uninvited and started calling these girls bitches and hoes, right? They would be cheering that on, right? They would be clapping and yas queening and twerking and all that stuff, right? They would love that type of stimulation, right? But intellectual stimulation, no, can't handle that, right? Can't handle that. That's triggering, okay? We got to get these people off of campus. That's hate speech, right? Yeah, it's a damn shame. It really is. But I mean, seriously, right? Like, real talk. We should have a real conversation about whether or not a lot of these colleges, and I'm not just talking about HBCUs, I'm mainly talking about a lot of these liberal arts universities. Should these universities exist, right? Should these universities continue to get federal funds, despite the fact that they don't produce a damn thing, right? What has Tennessee State University produced in regards to academic literature, scientific innovation, anything, right? What have they produced? Nothing, okay? So again, why are we funding this? Okay, why are we funding this? And again, I just want to be clear. I want to reiterate, because I already know the pro-blacks going to be upset. I'm not just talking about HBCUs. There are some HBCUs, like, for example, North Carolina A&T University. From an engineering perspective, they actually do produce scientific innovations, right? Those type of schools, yes, okay, we should have those type of schools. Those schools should exist. They actually produce stuff, right? But when it comes to, again, a school like Tennessee State University is like, bruh, like, this is just a waste. It's a waste of money. What are we doing, right? We shouldn't be funding this stuff. Again, I mean, look at the students. Look at the students. Like, I mean, this is crazy. So, you know, I mean, I really do think that we need to have a real conversation about these failing colleges and universities, and the fact that we're sending these students to these schools to be brainwashed in liberal ideology and not producing anything else outside of brainwashed students. That's the only thing that Tennessee State University is producing. And I think that this story right here is exactly what I'm talking about. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.